Today is the day I finally get to break ground on my 4th ever home build, and I could not be more excited. Not only because I'm trying to profit over $750,000 on this project over the course of the next 6 to 8 months. Yes, of course I'm excited about that, but also because it's my first build to sell project, and it's also my first home build as a full-time home builder. Previously, I kind of just did this on the side. I built my first home in 77 days. That was around a $305,000 home that I built to keep as a single family rental property. I then built my second home, which was valued around $430,000. I built that one in 60 days, also kept that as a single family rental property. Both of those have been incredible investments. My third one, I built my dream home, which was valued at about $1.25 million, and I currently live in it. I'm actually getting ready to sell that and turn a pretty big profit. But this is my 4th project. It's my first one where I'm gonna be building a house with the intentions to sell. So a little bit different process, and I'm excited to take it on. Before I get into it, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my future videos, but let me take a second and go over the numbers on this project so you can see how I'm trying to make over $750,000. First, the land cost me $270,000. This is an 1.5 acre tract of land, but we'll go over the features and shape and size and aspects of the land here in a minute. The home build budget is currently $950,000. The pool build budget is $70,000. The closing cost when I sell the home for the realtor on the other side and the title cost will be around $90,000. The bank fees and interest should be around $50,000 for the construction loan I obtained for this project, bringing my total project cost to $1.43 million. Hopefully by January 1 of 2026, I'm gonna put this house on the market for an asking price of $2.2 million, sell it fast, and that'll leave me with a net profit of $770,000. And as I mentioned, I intend on putting this house on the market January 1 of 2026, which leaves me about 6 to 7 months to build this house, which I think is well achievable. I don't wanna rush through the process. I wanna take my time, do everything correct, build the best house possible, build the best pool possible so that the product is perfect when it's all finished. I think it will take roughly 6 to 7 months. So this home is gonna have all the popular 2025 transitional style trends going on in the new construction world. Let's take it to the office for about a minute or two, go over the building plans and the site plan, as well as the 3D renderings that I had created specifically for this project. Before we break ground and get started on the construction part of this project, I thought now would be an appropriate time to pull up my building plans and also some 3D and color rendering images to go through. That way everyone's on the same page and knows exactly what I'm trying to build on this project. And I'm gonna fly through this honestly because looking at building plans, if you don't have any experience building or looking at plans, can be a little bit intimidating. They're a little bit complex to look at. So for that reason, I'm just gonna fly through here. And if I need to create a in-depth video on the building plans in the future, I will. So this is what the home's gonna look like from the front. This is what the home's gonna look like from the back. It has a transitional style, which means, in my opinion, it's a mix between traditional and modern. And as you can imagine, I'm gonna lean more towards the modern style. So it has a transitional style with windows all over the place, some curved archway elements, both on the exterior and the interior, a very clean roof design with 3 gables, big and small windows, brick, stucco, and stone cladding on the exterior. So this is what it's going to look like from the front. I'm very excited to try to do this detail right here, which is where the roof meets the wall. On my dream home build and also on previous projects that y'all seen me build, I always did roof overhangs where the roof would come out and overhang the wall. But on this project, I'm going for this flush look where the roof will come down, stop at the wall, and go straight down. So you'll have to stay tuned for the framing stage for that part of the project where I try to do that. Never done it, so it may not be all that hard to some people, but to me, it's a challenge. Never did it before. So this is what the home's gonna look like from the front. This is what it's gonna look like from the back with a floating back porch here. Also a floating back porch right here. And what I mean by floating is typically these back porches would have posts, but I'm doing some steel beams, which is gonna allow me to do floating back porches. This is a 20-foot slider off the living room. This is a 16-foot slider off the master bedroom. So that's the front and the back of the home. Here's the right and left elevation. Left elevation is pretty like irrelevant because no one's ever even gonna see this side of the home just because how it sits on the lot. But you can see there's that floating back porch off the master. Here's the right elevation. It's a little more important just because the driveway comes up to this side of the home. There's extra parking over here. And then of course that's where it wraps into the garage. At the very least, I probably will try to do some badass garage doors here if the budget allows for it. Whenever I get to that part of the build and it's time to choose garage doors, it's typically with like a month, maybe 6 to 8 weeks left. So if I have room in the budget for some cool garage garage doors, I will do that, but those do get pricey, so to be determined on that. But that's the right and left elevation. Here's the floor plan. I'm not going to go through this in detail because it would take a significant amount of time. Hopefully we can make another video on that in the future. There's a second floor plan. Here's the roof plan. And then last 2 pages are what I want to talk about, which is the site plan and clearing plan. Starting with the clearing plan, you can see that this line is my outermost, it's actually my property line. So everywhere this line is in fact my property line. That's where my property starts and stops. And it does have a triangular shape, which I'm sure most people would like a rectangular shape, but from the lots I had to choose from, this is the one I really liked. And this is going to allow me to set the house back about 150 feet from the front property line. You can see there's a 50-foot BL, 50-foot building line. That is the minimum setback for which the house has to be. So at very least, your front of your house has to be this far back. You can't build in front of that line. Well, for mine, because of the shape, I have to set my house back further, which I think is something that is cool. And you can see all of these symbols are in fact trees, and everything that has an X on it has to go, which is everything within 20 feet of the pool and of the house, and then probably about 10 foot of the driveway. Everything with an X is what I have to clear, so that whenever we're finished, the house will, or the site will look like this. There'll be a cleared path here for the driveway and parking area, cleared area here on the building pad for the future home, and cleared area here for the pool and spa combo. And then once we get all that cleared out, I will probably eyeball everything, see what else needs to be thinned out or cleared out. We'll probably clear most of the small trees in the backyard so that it is pretty and can grow green yard and be usable for the future homeowner, but still retain most of the mature trees. Now here are the 3D in color renderings. You know, these are probably 70% accurate or less, but they're just a visual tool to see what the future home is going to look like. This is it from the front. Right now I just have some boring stucco right here, but this is an element I'm really going to try to spend some money on and do something really cool, because I feel like it's kind of the focal point of the front of the home. If you can do something really cool right here to highlight that design element, that's what I'm gonna try to do. So that's the front of the home. Here's the back of the home with the floating back porch. This roof is completely floating. I say that most of the time there would be posts right here, but I'm gonna do some steel beams right here. So it's a floating back porch with a 20-foot slider, outdoor kitchen. You know, that's the lounging area right by the pool and spa. Obviously my pool and spa is not gonna be this boring, but it just is a visual. Also gonna do some deck jets right here. And there's the floating back porch, which is vaulted off of the master. Here's the foyer with some curved stairs going up to the second floor. Here's the kitchen with the Taj Mahal quartzite counters and white oak cabinetry. It's really what's trending right now. I'm also going to try to do this curved vent hood. So not sure I'm going to do that yet, but I'm going to go for it. Here's the living room with a 20-foot slider here and floor to ceiling fireplace area, linear electric fireplace, TV, and then there are some curved built-ins on this side with some floating shelves, LED lighting, and cabinetry, and then another curved element here, which is a hallway to the other part of the house. Then we have the master bedroom, master bathroom, her closet, which is massive, obviously, floor to ceiling mirror with some sconce lights just so you can get dressed and look in the mirror, and then his closet, obviously significantly smaller than her closet, utility room, guest bathroom with another nice closet right there, and guest bathroom wet room. So that is exactly what I'm trying to build on this project. Now back to the job site. Major progress after about 2 hours. The driveway lane is pretty much all the way cleared. There's one operator in the Komatsu 170 excavator. This dozer is yet to be used, but I'm sure it'll get used here at the end of the day. There's been a guy or two come out with some chainsaws and start cutting stuff up because the excavator is getting ready to grab these piles and put them inside that big barrel trailer. This guy I hired is the real deal, and he's got all the equipment needed to execute a job like this, or much larger, 10 acres, 15 acres, or even larger than that. And they use big barrel trailers. How big is that barrel trailer? How big is that trailer?
It's not a construction trailer.
Construction trailer. And how big?
It's all 60 yards.
60 yards. So 60 yards, much larger than just a regular dump truck. I would assume probably twice the volume. But he's got the real equipment here, and we've already got the driveway cleared. The driveway lane is gonna come right through here. My property line is only about 15 feet on the other side of those stakes. So the driveway comes up to the right, and then the house is gonna be to the left. And right now he's just getting all of the brush piled up to load up the first drum trailer or barrel trailer, whatever he referred to it as. I call it a barrel trailer because it looks like a barrel. And there is the pad area, which most of the underbrush is gone out from the pad, and also a lot of the big trees. But only about 2 hours into it, we've made huge progress in only 2 hours, and I can really see how this is only gonna take 2 days now. So it's exciting, it's going fast, and I'm enjoying the show. let's get to it. So I actually already created a in-depth video going over the details about this project and also this land. So if you haven't seen that video, then go check it out. But before we get started clearing, I just wanted to go over a basic overview about the aspects of this land. So it's located in the Houston area. It's 1.5 acres in size, and it's located in a brand new acreage development. This development consists of 8 different sections that will soon one day have approximately 800 to 1,000 finished homes. Well, this is section 1. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, Section 5, 6, 7, 8. They get developed in chronological order. So Section 1 is the first one that's got developed. It's ready to start building homes in. Section 2 will not have all the utilities and the pavement and streets in and be ready to start building homes for approximately another year. So this entire development may take 6, 7, 8 years before it's entirely ready and built out. But Section 1 is the one I'm building in, and this lot is 1.5 acres in size, and it has a long triangular shape, which really fits the vision I have for this project because I want mine to stand out a little bit from the competition. Most other builders in here are setting the homes back only 50 foot from the street, probably because it's more expensive to move the house further back. You have to do more clearing. You have to build a longer temporary driveway. You have to do more dirt work. You also have to put more concrete for the finished driveway and also run all of the utilities further to the home, the natural gas, the electricity, etc. So I'm gonna be setting my home back 150 foot from the street because of the shape of my lot, and that fits the vision I have for the project because it's gonna allow mine to stand out from the competition. It's gonna create a more grand entrance curb appeal for the future buyer or future homeowner, and I really like how that's gonna look, whereas everyone else is sitting there's back the minimum only 50 feet. Of course, it's a wooded lot, but I didn't have any choice there because the 1,000 acres or whatever this development is likely all completely raw land, probably never even been walked on, if I had to guess, because it's probably never even been touched. So given that it's all raw wooded land, I didn't have a choice whether I wanted to buy a wooded or cleared lot, but this one is wooded. And then my favorite part about this land is it has a very low slope. It's 500 feet from front to back, and it only drops about 5 feet over the course of the entire lot. So that means it drops 12 inches every 100 feet, which is a very gradual fall. I'm only gonna have to bring in probably 2 to 3 feet of dirt for the pad, which I'm very excited about because there are builders building in here that are bringing in 8 to 12 or 13 feet of select fill material to build the pad. They're building a massive pad, twice as tall as me, which of course costs money and not only material and also labor to spread it and compact it, but it also costs time, but also it costs a very expensive retaining wall line item adding to the budget. So you'll have to build a retaining wall, which could be another $50,000 to $100,000. So whatever some of these people are spending on site prep, dirt work, and retaining walls, I'm gonna be spending a very low percentage of that, probably 10 to 20% of what some of these people are spending. So I'm very excited that it has a very low gradual slope. I'll be saving a lot of money, adding directly back to the bottom line and my profitability at the end of the project. So now let's take a look at the budget I have for the site prep and the process that I'm gonna have to go through to prepare this site for the future concrete slab on grade foundation and also the remainder process of building this home. To go over the budget, I'm really just gonna go directly off the bids I've already accepted for the site prep. There's 2 bids. One is for someone to install the silt fence and the construction fencing, and that line item is $1,830. Then I hired another subcontractor to handle the rest of the process, and here's the budget for the rest. We have setting the culvert, $4,500. Clearing the lot and hauling off all the debris, $12,000. Then we have the dirt work section, which is the select fill material, which I believe is gonna be about 2 to 3 feet. We're gonna estimate 150 loads at $120 per load. That is $18,000. Then we have the labor to spread all the select fill, compact it down with a compactor machine. That is $7,500, which equates to $50 a load. And then we have compaction testing. Once it's all finished, I'm gonna have it tested to make sure it has all the test readings and it passes the test to be able to support the weight of the future foundation and future home. That compaction test is gonna be completed by a geotechnical engineer for $1,650. Last line item on the site prep budget is the temporary driveway, which is going to be laying out a 150-foot long temporary driveway made of crushed concrete, approximately 4 large barrel trailer loads, and that is going to be $7,200. We've actually already installed the culvert. We've also already installed the silt fence and the construction fencing. So now it's the time that we've all been waiting for, or more specifically, I've been waiting for. Let's get to knocking these trees down and clearing this lot. Before we go check out the house and pool and backyard location of the property, I wanted to stop and emphasize the importance of something that is extremely important, and that's called construction staking. And these stakes are wood, they're wrapped with an orange ribbon, and they're typically labeled with whatever they're intending to mark, and they are placed in the ground by a service called a surveyor. You can see I have 1, 2, 3, about 7 stakes right here, all in a line, 150 foot long. And these are marking the edge of the concrete driveway, which are really 5-foot offsets from the edge of the concrete driveway. So 5 foot from this line is gonna be the edge of the concrete driveway, gonna be 12 foot wide, and then we're clearing 5 to 10 feet on the other side of the concrete driveway. I had them mark this side because it's really close to my property line. And if I did not mark these, the subcontractor would be completely guessing where to clear for the concrete driveway. And you could see how easily it would be to veer a little bit too far off to the right and then be clearing trees on someone else's property, which could cause legal problems, or possibly veering too far to the left and clearing more trees than I originally hoped for or intended to clear, which would alter the vision for the project. So in order to execute everything extremely precisely in location and how it's intended and how the building plans say, it's very important to place stakes for all the improvements that you are preparing to build. Now let's go check out the house and pool and backyard area of the property. So now we are in the future house and future pool area of the property, probably about 200 feet from the street, because we're on the back side of the home. And this stake is a building corner 5-foot offset. So 5 foot from that stake is the true building corner. I had them put building corner offset stakes at the 4 outermost building corners of the future home. So one here, one at the front right, and one at the back right. And then we're clearing 15 feet beyond these building corner offset stakes to give us 20 total feet of clearance for the house envelope. We're also doing the same for the pool. We'll go take a look at a second. And I'm all about keeping trees, but there comes a time whenever you're building that you have to clear what is necessary, because trees can cause damage to the foundation. They can obstruct the flow of drainage and can cause problems. So it's required to clear 20 feet, in my opinion, from the building corner to prevent any problems from those trees of the future home. So now let's go take a look at the pool area and the back of my property, because I have to come up with exactly what I want to do for the back side of my property. We've made big progress on the driveway, big progress on the house location. The front corner of the house, there's a back corner, that's the edge of the driveway. The front left corner is about where the excavator is. The front right corner is about right there on the left side of the dozer. The back right corner is right there. You can see the orange ribbon. So the house envelope is completely cleared, and the pool is going to start right about here where my feet are on the back line of the house, and it's going to go directly out to that orange stake and that orange stake. So he's actually cleared the pool area as well, but he has to clear beyond that for the backyard. So I actually own probably 250 to 300 feet that way. All the way to the right, we have a pretty big backyard. And I believe what I'm gonna do is leave a 25-foot underbrush buffer on all property sides, the side, the back, and the right, to create a privacy screen for the future homeowner. Inside of that 25-foot buffer, we're going to take out all of the underbrush just to clean it up and make it look nice. We're also going to take out all trees under 6 inches in diameter because they're too small, and that will give more room for the healthy trees larger than 6 inches to grow and have more sunlight and a better growing environment for them. It'll just clean the property up a lot more. And there's a pretty big backyard right here that's gonna be fenced in. I believe we're also going to cut that, or maybe just keep a few trees inside the backyard. But we still have quite a bit of clearing to do. You can see the back, holy moly, there's thousands of trees that I can see right here. So quite a bit of work actually left to do, considering I own probably 250 feet that way to the back corner of the property. But these machines are magical. So we'll see if he can do it so we can start the dirt work tomorrow. After about 2 hours of work on day one, setting the culvert and walking the job site with the site prep subcontractor, clearing all day, day 2, clearing all day, day 3, and about half a day of clearing on day 4. We're now at the start of day number 5, and the land clearing phase of this project is fully complete, fully finished, and honestly went smooth as butter. You see a dump truck just pulled in. They're getting ready to start unloading all of the select fill to start building the dirt pad for the future concrete foundation for this home. So we got a 30-foot wide area cleared for the driveway, and I made sure to clear it about 5 to 10 feet outside of the driveway on both sides. That way we don't have any trees die in the future from putting the concrete driveway right over the top of the root system. Of course, we cleared the entire house envelope pad area as well as the pool envelope area, completely cleared, took out all the roots from below. You have to take out the entire root system. Otherwise, if you leave the root system in the ground and you don't dig it up with an excavator, that root system will decay. Over time, it'll break down and it will create a hole underground, under your improvements, under your foundation, under your pool, which then lead to structural problems. So got all the root systems dug out. Then we moved on to the backyard area where we underbrushed all of that. We took out all trees, probably less than about 10 inches in diameter, but we kept the big, healthy, mature trees. That way inside the fenced in backyard, they can have a pretty yard. They can have good, healthy grass with a lot of sunlight hitting it, but still retain a couple big healthy trees for the fenced in backyard area. Then leading down to the very back corner of the property, we underbrushed everything, but we made sure to retain a 20-foot wide natural underbrush buffer in every place we really could on the sides and rear of the property to act as a privacy screen for the future homeowner. So that's something I felt like was pretty important on this 1.5 acre size property. But now we're moving on to the dirt work. And kind of what goes hand in hand with that is a point that I would like to explain the real reason on why I was so excited to be able to acquire this property in comparison to all of the other ones that were available to me to purchase whenever I was looking for a deal. So let's go check out the house envelope, pool envelope area, and something that's gonna be saving me literally tens of thousands of dollars, possibly even hundreds of thousands of dollars in comparison to some of the other options I had. So now that the lot is fully cleared, it has revealed the true slope of the lot, which is the #1 factor that influenced me to purchase this specific piece of land in comparison to some others out there. I'm probably saving $50,000 to $100,000 more than some of the other homeowners and builders are paying in this exact community. Whenever you're shopping for land, you look at it from the street and they're all fully wooded in here. How do you make the decision on which one to go with? Well, for me, it was all sloped. There are some builders who are building up their pads 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 foot tall, and they are going to need a retaining wall around that foundation, all which is very costly. They could be spending $100,000 to $125,000 on dirt, an additional $25,000 to $50,000 on a retaining wall, or more, depending on how tall it is. So they could be paying $150,000 on that part of the build, whereas I'm only paying $30,000, and I'm not gonna be building up a mountain to build a house on because the slope is so bad. That's the exact reason I purchased this lot, which you can really now see it. Now that the lot is cleared, we're now starting the dirt work to build this 3-foot pad, and that extra $75,000, $100,000 that I'm saving is literally going right in my back pocket as profit, because building up this pad an extra 10 foot would not have made the house sell for any more than just having a 3-foot pad. So it's not like there's any profit in that. Instead, it's all savings that goes directly in my back pocket, and was the true #1 reason on why I selected this specific piece of land. Even though it has a little odd shape, I'm making it work with the vision I've created for the project and saving so much money from having to do a lot of extensive dirt work. So all that to really say, I prioritize evaluating the existing grade or slope of a piece of land when I'm shopping for land in comparison to how thickly and densely wooded it is, because it's fairly affordable to knock all this down and haul it out of here for 12 grand in comparison to doing very extensive dirt work, bringing in hundreds of loads of dirt, leveling the lot, building a retaining wall is much more affordable, which would cause me to lose money in the end. So that's gonna bring a wrap to the clearing phase of this project. It took 2.5, 3 days to clear this lot, and it cost me $12,000 to clear all of this and haul it all out of here. We're now on day #5. Dump trucks are here, dumping out the select fill. We're getting ready to start building the dirt pad for the future concrete foundation. A lot of value is going to be packed in that information, going over the site plan, the engineered plans, and making sure we're doing everything completely correct with all the heavy machinery, the compaction testing. So make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're not already so you don't miss out on my future videos. I'm gonna be sharing a video on every single part of this process, sharing the details, sharing the cost. Also gonna be building a pool right here in the backyard, so make sure you don't miss out on all those videos. Hit the subscribe button, as well as if you're interested in learning how to build a house, learning how to become a builder and build projects like this to make close to 7 figures profit on each deal, then click the link in the top of the description to check out my program. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.